Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking some of your time to listen to our presentation titled Demographic Distributions of Majors, Grinnell College. Our study focuses on how Grinnell College's demographic distributions compare between the different divisions of study. Before we get started, we want to give some background information on the liberal arts and what a liberal arts education offers. Some liberal arts colleges, also known as LACs, offer an open curriculum that allows students to have a more enriching and assorted education than other public universities. LACs have much smaller class sizes than most universities and prefer offering seminars which lead to greater student discussions and engagement. Although it may seem like LACs lack diversity on campus in part because of their small size, the prevalence of diversity is impressive at Grinnell College. This is what we have chosen to study. Grinnell College, a small LAC in the middle of Iowa, is a premier academic institution known for its rigorous academics and tradition of social responsibility. The college serves as a home to approximately 1,600 students from a wide range of backgrounds, from domestic students living on the coasts of the country or the prairies of the Midwest to the international students traveling back to their respective countries in 5 different continents. Grinnell College has a unique and diverse set of student demographics. This school offers a selection of 26 different majors and 11 interdisciplinary concentrations to pursue. The majors are split into 3 different divisions, the divisions of humanity, science, and social studies. It seems astonishing to see this type of availability of majors and concentrations to students in such a small population. Grinnell College is proud to sport great diversity in both its students and fields of study. With this diversity, it may be difficult to find trends that describe how students decide their major. Furthermore, we do not know how these demographic distributions compare between the 3 divisions of study. For example, it is not obvious if a domestic student from the East Coast will immediately pursue a degree in economics. In this project, our goal was to understand the demographics of variety of popular majors at Grinnell College. The results may help us begin to think about why certain people from different backgrounds choose the areas of study that they do. Using the data we have collected, we may be able to identify underrepresented demographics within specific majors and fields to encourage outreach in those areas of study.
The registrar's office was kind enough to provide us with this data. Our dataset mainly includes 3rd and 4th years, but we also have a few observed 5th and 2nd year students. Due to the difficulty in accurately assessing small sample sizes, we decided to focus on the 10 most populous majors at Grinnell. These majors are distributed across the 3 main divisions of humanities, social science, and science. However, the sciences are more heavily represented, with 6 of the 10 most populous majors being science majors. The humanities were the most underrepresented, as English was the only major in that division, which made the population cut. We chose to study several different factors which we thought could contribute to an individual's choice of major. These are sex, ethnicity, and geographical location. We will now describe how our data accounts for these variables. First is sex. The data that we were given does not account for genderqueer individuals, that is, non-binary or trans individuals in particular were not represented. They may be accounted for but were assigned a gender from the binary. This is because the registrar uses legal standing. Thus, a trans man who has not legally transitioned, meaning has not filed in court for a change of legal name and gender, may remain listed as female. Second is ethnicity. We originally began by comparing ethnic groups, which made up more than 1% of the student population. However, we did not have enough observations in each category to validate the goodness of fit test. Thus, we have consolidated the population into white and non-white categories. We understand the problematic social implications which arise from such consolidation. However, we would have been unable to provide a proper analysis given the underrepresentation of certain ethnic groups on campus. Finally is geographical location. We categorized geographical locations by state, specifically by the first digit of each student's zip code. You can see this division on the map above. In order to conduct a proper analysis with enough data points, we then further consolidated these locations into broader regions. We have the West, which consists of 8 and 9, the Midwest, which is 4, 5, and 6, the South, which is 732, and the East, which is 01, and finally international, which it was coded with I. Every analysis used the proportions of the entire dataset for each variable as the expected values. For example, when comparing the gender distributions of each major, we used a one proportion test to compare the proportion of the males in the major to 0.4378, which is the proportion of males in the entire sample. We used a one proportion test for sex because we only had to look at the proportion of males in each sample, as if a student was not male, they were classified as female automatically. We used goodness to fit tests for ethnicity and geography because there were far more subcategories, so we couldn't do a simple 1 or 2 proportion. All statistical analyses were conducted using Minitab 17 statistical software. The pie chart on the left gives the overall gender distribution of the entire sample of declared majors. This is what we compared each individual major to. We found that only 4 of the 10 studied majors had significantly different than expected gender discrepancies. There were more men in computer science and economics, and there were more women in psychology and English. Also, these discrepancies were stronger in computer science and economics, which are considered to be more strongly male fields. The pie chart on the left gives the overall ethnic distribution, accounting for only white and non-white or mixed race of the entire sample of declared majors. This is what we compared each individual major to. We have 5 significant findings in ethnic distributions across the majors. Interestingly enough, only English had significantly more white students. All other major findings are significant because the proportion of minorities is higher than expected.
We were interested in Grinnell College's geographic distribution of students. The pie chart on the left represents the distribution of students by region, which includes the eastern, midwestern, southern, and western parts of the United States, and the international category that comprises all countries around the world except for the United States. We found significant findings in the computer science, English, history, and mathematics majors. In computer science, we found underrepresentation of students from the Midwest compared to expected values. In English, we found a severe underrepresentation of international students with no international students majoring in English compared to expected values. In history, we found overrepresentation in students from the East and South and the underrepresentation in students from the West in math. In mathematics, there is a severe overrepresentation of international students and underrepresentation of students from the South and West.
We found that we could reject the null hypothesis for computer science, economics, English, and psychology. These gender distributions were in alignment with typical thought about male versus female fields. Interestingly enough, the fields which we were not able to reject the null hypothesis for complicate the idea of men being more prevalent in the sciences. As for geographical distributions, we were able to reject our null hypothesis for computer science, English, history, and math. We were able to reject our null hypothesis for computer science, economics, English, history, and mathematics for ethnicity. We found that more minorities tend to declare practical majors such as computer science, economics, and math than whites, and there are less minorities than expected that declare English majors. We also found that across all 3 variables, the only majors for which we were consistently able to reject our null hypothesis were English and computer science. We were also able to reject the null hypothesis twice for each of economics, history, and math. We never rejected our null hypothesis for biology, biological chemistry, chemistry, or political science. These thus were the majors most in line with the sample's overall demographics.